I really may switch my MacBook Pro in for this Air over here. So it was announced that the MacBook Air is getting refreshment. We're getting the M4 version. And I saw some of the stats on Twitter. So we're gonna go over it and just react to it overall because these were impressive. This is the first MacBook I feel as if Apple created that's perfect. MacBook Air, speed of lightness. You can pre-order it. Comes out on the 12th of this month. So it has 18 hours of battery life. Comes obviously with the M4 chip and with Apple Intelligence. I don't care about Apple Intelligence. I don't think really anyone does. Built to go places. Remarkably light and less than ½ an inch thin. These people are still obsessed with how thin something is. Okay, so you got the 13 and 15 inch display, not that bad, okay. New colors, the sky blue looks nice. Starlight's reminding me of Starlight from that one Amazon Prime show. The Boys, I forgot the name, man, I forgot the name. Obviously M4, the chip that zips up. I'm a big fan of the M4 chip from what I've heard about it. So the M4 chip is up to 23 times faster than the fastest Intel-based MacBook Air. Those are super old. Up to 2 times faster than MacBook Air M1. That's not anything crazy in my personal opinion. Up to 18 hours of battery life. That's impressive, especially keeping into consideration that this is an Air model, dude. This is an Air model. This isn't a Pro. This is the Air. They're really pushing for this chip to be the base work of fantastic production when it comes down to using it with AI. Oh, why, look at this. Look at that. It supports fast charge, getting up to 50% in just 30 minutes. That's actually pretty good. I'm actually impressed. I'm actually impressed by this. Okay, so now I'm on Twitter, and I personally like to go on Twitter just for all the news that I get. Maybe you've seen some of my shorts. I actually did post this one. This is something that I'm a huge fan of, and I didn't see them really push it on the website. Maybe they went over it, I just didn't see it. 16 gigabytes of starting RAM. Like, that's insane. We're so used to 8 gigabytes, and 8 gigabytes is annoying, man. It's 2025. What are you talking about with freaking 8 gigabytes? Now we're bumping it up to 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's low key the number one thing that's really pushing it for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really may switch my MacBook Pro in for this Air over here. And the fact that it's literally just $1,000 with tax, it's gonna be bumped up to $1,100 realistically speaking, but this is really good. I feel like a lot of people are not taking into consideration what you're really getting out of this. And keep in mind something else. Best Buy, Amazon, they will do sales on this thing, where sometimes a MacBook Air, if it's regular $999, it's gonna drop down to freaking $799. And that's fantastic. I don't know, I'm a big fan of that. And Tim Cook over here is also promoting it with their little ad that they got going on over here. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM. And all in all, you're also getting that M4 chip. The reason I'm a fan of this MacBook Air is the fact that it broadens itself to a wider audience. Not just people who don't have a lot of money, but they want a MacBook, so they just get the MacBook Air because that's the cheapest one they can get, but also the people who actually need to use it for what's inside of it. This guy saves you money, this guy saves you time. Giving it 16 gigabytes of RAM means you can do so much more on this. You can multitask at a greater level. And that is super important, not just with multitasking, but making sure that your MacBook can handle whatever project you're working on. Some people tend to forget that RAM is important. There's so many people nowadays, friends and family, that have to tell them, like, dude, RAM is important. I'm actually happy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Everyone's really been waiting for Apple to go ahead and say, okay, we're gonna give you standard 16 gigabytes of RAM. It comes with 2 USB-Cs. Yeah, I know, that's not what they call it. I'm gonna call it that because that's literally what it is. I know I already asked you guys, but would you guys buy this MacBook? Regardless of the one that you have. Which one do you have? Let me know which one you guys do actually have right now. Okay, so I'm gonna compare the MacBook Air M4 version with the MacBook Pro M3 version, the one that I have. I'm probably gonna come up with a little conclusion as to whether or not I'll be buying it. Wow. So my CPU is an 8 core, theirs is a 10 core. Pretty impressive, not gonna lie to you. Okay, so battery life, mine is still beating it, not really surprised. Pros are typically really good, but look at that Air. It's catching up, it's basically there. It's doing a fantastic work, keeping up with a Pro model that's not even that old. Keep in mind, it's not that old. The M3 MacBook Pro is still a phenomenal piece of hardware. So obviously, when it comes down to the actual chip, the M4, not surprisingly, is going to do a much better job. Not really much better, you know, it's just, you know, getting the job done, okay? It's the fact that 16 gigabytes of RAM is the standard memory on the MacBook Air M4, and with the M3 Pro, I still have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, here's one downside that I am seeing over here. 256 gigabyte SSD versus 512 gigabytes. Obviously, you can work your way around that if you're just getting external storage, or just go ahead and get more storage in general. Display, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not really turning me on as much as I wish it would. The display of the Air is just like 10% not as good as the Pro M3 that I have over here. No, it doesn't come with the ProMotion that mine comes with. Camera, 12 megapixel center stage camera, pretty nice. Speaker, so obviously my speakers will be superior. Spatial audio with dynamic head tracking when using, okay, that's great. This is pretty interesting, not gonna lie to you. I don't know if I will actually go ahead and get the M4 MacBook Air, just because I really am working on my display a good amount of the time. And I do like the large display that the 14-inch is, even though it's technically a 14-inch. Even though technically it's a small one, it does the job fairly well. But I'm not gonna lie, overall, in comparison of the two, regardless of what you may say or think, the MacBook Air M4 is probably the best MacBook Air that you could buy right now. And by right now, I mean in 7 days. If you appreciate my mentally unstable atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to subscribe, because I will be doing these much more because I'm mentally unstable and I do love French fries.